This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
All right, my name is Jeff Robinson, and I'm the CEO and founder of InvisiArmor Sport. InvisiArmor Sport is a product that when you mix with 3% hydrogen peroxide, it becomes the most efficient, eco-friendly residual antimicrobial in the world. It has global patents, and it's recently patented. Don't smell like a donkey. That's what our mantra is. So basically here, the problem is that when you work out, we've all probably encountered that some level of odor that we don't really like to be around, whether it's our own or our buddies that we're working out with. So depending what tribe you might be in, if you're doing CrossFit or you're out on the pitch, the stench might be pretty intense. But the concern is not only the stench, but the cross-contamination risk for MRSA and VRE and some other nasty things, E. coli, that you might find on your sports gear. So, there are three ways to address odor. You can kill the germs, you can capture the odor molecules, or you can mask the odor with scent technology. We're the only product in the world that we're aware of that does all three and actually makes the product residual. It's a treatment. It stays on your clothing, on your gear, on your shoes 24/7. What's really cool about it is the fact that it is residual, and it's a unique treatment. And when you apply it, it actually can reduce the number of launderings that you actually have to do if you're a camper, if you're a hiker, if you're an ultramarathoner, if you're a cyclist, if you're a traveler, if you have gear that you can't launder very frequently. This is a great product to really reduce the odor. We actually have one of our wear testers has worn our product 24 times with the workout gear. He's a Marine, so you can imagine how that might be. And he actually has stated that the garment is still quite fresh. You can go to Amazon and check out his review. If you were to search InvisiArmor, you can come up with the reviews that we have on Amazon. Not only will it last between launderings, what's really cool about our technology, it actually lasts beyond each laundering. So we in the lab recently in December have gotten our launderings up to 30x with a log 5 kill of staph. We marketed at 20x with the log 3 kill just to have a fudge factor in there. As mentioned, we have global patents. It's a platform technology, and it is recent. 5-star ratings on Amazon. People have used it. If you have gear that you need to treat, it works incredibly well. We have a global exclusivity to bring this product to market with our technology partners who are scientists. They have an R&D lab, a chemical lab, a microbiology lab. They have a laundry lab that they do all of our testing. We recently reformulated the product to incorporate a scratch and sniff scent technology, and we have been recognized by the industry to actually be a finalist with this particular product for a presentation in May of this year in Frankfurt, Germany. Our supply chain is ready to scale, and we actually have an eye to the future. We have a utility patent on a device that in the future will be able to apply this technology more efficiently. It also includes an RFID tracking if you're inside of a particular system. Sports and outdoor, it's a large market. There's lots of different ways to slice this market, whether it be domestically or internationally. The technology can be applied. What we are doing is actually going out the door directly to make it available to consumers. And we are in the process of putting together, we are building out our marketing funnels currently and our creative advertising. We're asking for a $500,000 convertible note, 20% discount, so that we can drive market demand and build the creative content. If you're familiar with the Harmon Brothers and what they've been able to do online, pretty remarkable. We've reached out to them, and we are trying to create some content that will be attractive and drive conversions, ultimately getting into a loyalty program that people will find value in our product long term. So, always be closing, 25% coupon. discount if you use this code today, PitchBreakfast. Go to our website, check it out. Keep your buddies fresh and keep yourself fresh when you're working out with all your peeps. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'll go first. So fascinating. I mean, just the way you really broke down the problem, and I think the "don't smell like a donkey" is funny. What as an investor, I mean, I think you did a thorough job explaining the product. As an investor, I certainly want to understand who the other competitors are, why you're different, and also that was a very broad market. But where are you starting, and then where are you relative to your journey? So maybe I have a couple other comments. Maybe you just start there.
Sure, great question. Lots of different ways to look at the market. There are antimicrobial products out there in the market today that are manufactured inside the mill, whether it be a silver antimicrobial or some type of triclosan or silane quad or something that's been added to a garment. What differentiates us is that you can make any piece of clothing antimicrobial, any gear that may not be antimicrobial, whether it be hockey gear, lacrosse gear, football gear that is difficult to launder or clean, you can make it antimicrobial. And the second part of your question was around
where, when did you start the company? Where are you?
Yeah, we're
relative to?
2 years in. We have a utility patent for a locker-style device that can ultimately allow locker rooms to apply the technology very quickly, or school systems to apply the technology very quickly. We've just come out of the labs last fall and winter, and our product became available the first part of this year. So we're now launching it to consumers
And
directly.
so you sold it through Amazon.
Correct.
And so how is that?
Yeah, what's traction?
What's traction
Yeah,
there?
we are just got on Amazon in the last couple of weeks, and
Okay.
we are not Amazon Prime yet. So
Okay.
that when we go Prime, it'll make it much easier for us to get more visibility. And we're not. We're literally this week working on building our marketing funnels and a new advertising campaign.
So are you pre-revenue?
No, we have revenue.
You do?
Yeah, we do have revenue.
Okay.
Are you, and so the goal is, so you talked a little bit about schools. Is the goal to be a direct-to-consumer brand?
The goal is to have. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think that ultimately building a brand, and then of course online marketing. I mean, that's very broad. And so as you think through that $500,000, it's where can you get adoption?
Sure.
Where can you get to in the hands of people? And so if you're, I mean, I heard you talk certainly like health benefits, but then also this whole smell and I think lacrosse gear. I instantly think, okay, well, how can you get this in the hands of bloggers? Get into that whole. You have Amazon that's building awareness, get to the Prime, but then also making bets to basically build brand awareness and how people are using and spraying down lacrosse gear.
Correct.
And how this is really solving the whole stench problem that people with kids have. And I think, it sounds like you have a lot of various, it can be adopted, but I think you have to start somewhere and figure out where you're going to get traction. Especially with investor money where you're talking about online acquisition. I don't know that anyone's going and searching for microbial, spray solution.
No, we have to educate the market. So we think we can do that through creative online videos and other things to promote the product.
Yeah, and you probably can do that. I just wonder if you can't try to, give away the product, get it in the hands of people, pay some blog or something to basically reach their audience. This is not that expensive. What is the price point?
It's $24 for a startup kit.
Okay.
What's your cost basis?
Cost basis is less than $5 per bottle.
Packaged in its current form, like the aerosol bottle?
This is less than $5, but
I think what you're saying is super important. Having been around some of these products before, one of the most effective tactics could end up being finding a rational size to sample. That's a really interesting way to the consumer market that I think converts really well. I'm sure you can find people searching for, I know my daughter's soccer shoes just smell like ass.
Sure. Our product will fix that.
I think it's out there, but the education bit, I think a rational size sample could be a really interesting way to get to mass.
Okay.
I mean, you just need to, you're going to have these bloggers be able to tell the story, show the pictures. Sure. They have their followings. Your product is not that expensive so that you could actually sample it. And then you and test it and see how that works. And then you have that bet. And then you also have, Amazon, and those are two things that are raising awareness, although your margins on Amazon likely are, not as great, but you have a marketplace.
No,
there.
they're going to go down. I mean, our margins will increase. Right now, we're really gearing it to be a keystone product, but...
Yeah. The other question I have is just about friction and ease. Are you going to develop a product that does not require you to actually mix it with hydrogen peroxide where it's ready to go?
It's all about the science, really. Our product has a long shelf life.
Okay.
It has a limited pot life. So the reason that you want to have the product separate is that you want to mix it and make it fresh. We do want to go to a technology like this that you can put our product in here and put the peroxide in here and mix it and make it easier. Mm-hmm. But it's all a matter of volume.
Okay, and I think that that's also where you can get feedback from some of these bloggers that will tell you how hard it is, and what are they struggling with, what's going to actually help you in your product development to get to mass market.
Sure.
So I think that there's a two-pronged approach there. But I think that it's a little bit of the, who is your target market, be very specific about that. Who's currently playing there so that they understand and they even can address that, whether it be on, Amazon or whether it be through your through these influencers, if you will. And then I think from an investor standpoint, you want to see okay, what's the early traction? What do the numbers look like?
Sure.
How likely are you able to, with scale, bring that acquisition cost down, or by channel, how is that going to break down? Because online marketing is still pretty broad.
It is, and there's a real art and science to making it happen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we're trying to work through right now.
I got a question. If I'm thinking about investing, I'm thinking about three things. Who am I investing in? What is it, and what is the market? You've done very, very well at, what is it? Because it is an invention, it's important. But who are you? Who's the company? Why,
So we have
as opposed to, why not just sell it to Unilever or, sell it to Clorox or to sell it to somebody who's already got a market? Sell it to a sporting goods store and let them run. Why would I want to put my money with you or with whoever your backers or partners, or I don't know anything about the company?
Sure. We've been at this about 2 years, and we went down one path, we pivoted a little bit, went down another path, and it's been a process of trying to figure out what's the low-hanging fruit. We initially came out to the medical environment trying to provide a product directly to healthcare workers to treat their lab coats and their scrubs with the technology. It's difficult to sell something that works, but you may not understand the immediate benefit of, if your lab coat, if MRSA lives for weeks on clothing and VRE lives for weeks on clothing, your doctor's going from you patient to patient to patient. If you're a patient that doesn't understand that and you don't know, your doctor doesn't launder his coat but hangs on the back of the door, those are problems, but trying to sell in that market is difficult. We pivoted to focus primarily on sport and add the odor technology that we have so that we can actually show an immediate benefit to athletes and people that would want to stay stink-free. So we've been around for about 2 years. We have a team that has some real skills for building the brand. We have a technology team that are hardcore scientists. I'm the founder of the company. Right now we are in the process of hiring a marketing team to help us really figure out how to best to go to market and build these funnels and to get the creative that we need to get. So we've worked really hard to come up to the point to get the supply chain in place and to get the product positioned for market, and we're in the very, very early stages of actually making it available to the market. I hope that kind of answers your question.
I would just be a tiny bit more specific, maybe just a slide with a couple pictures, what your background. You have 20 years and something.
And I think your relationship to the IP is important, because it sounded to me like you're licensing it, you're licensing.
We have a strategic partnership with this R&D lab.
Are they equity holders in the company?
Yes.
Or is there a royalty or a
royalty
monetary?
with an equity conversion?
Okay, I think it's important because one of the early questions would be, you mentioned exclusivity, which is important. How long does it last? Is it forever? What are the terms around that? Because
it's a strategic partnership, so we're tied to the hip.
Yeah. Is it actually how long? Is there a term on the exclusivity? I guess is my question.
No.
Because most things do.
No.
Okay. if you're performing. Okay, so are there toll gates? You have to sell a certain amount, or the exclusivity
No, we're hitting our toll
runs out?
gates that we need to hit with them.
Okay, all right. I would expect a lot of questions in that area, especially from a savvy investor because you're essentially a reseller. You might see it as a much more strategic relationship because your scientists have equity in the company and they've given you a runway to go to market, but you're basically it's distribution.
We have our own technology. We have our own utility patent to actually apply their technology. So they're very interested in us long term because it makes it much easier to apply this technology in a system, whether it be a hospital system or a university system that you can or a dry cleaner system where you can actually quickly apply the technology. We have the utility patent for that.
For the application side,
Keurig and K-Cup. They have the
side.
K-Cup, we have the Keurig.
Right.
So they're very interested in us long term being able to apply their technology.
And is there actually on the roadmap a path to the science that handles the mixing question? Because I think in a direct-to-consumer model, that's one of my biggest, one of the things I think that has to be overcome. When I think about as a consumer, the only thing I could think of off the top of my head that I actually mix at home is lemonade. So I think that, and I'm saying that as a joke, I'm saying I think that's real. I think every little bit of friction in the mixing and the application of the product, I think if there's science that can remove that over time, even if it's out there a few years, no big deal. I'm just curious if your scientists believe that problem can be solved.
I think we can eventually get to an R&D state that would allow us to have technology that, whether it be in a pill format or a pod that you can drop in the
Something
laundry.
a little bit easier than the mix.
But right now, doing that, the reason that we don't put in the rinse cyclable laundry is because front loaders have different amounts of water than top loaders, and it's an issue. It dilutes the technology. We're very scientific. The technology works incredibly well, but the application of applying the technology, you have to do it a certain way in order for it to work.
Okay.
But hydrogen peroxide you're going to have in a hospital versus one more thing that the consumer has to go and get potentially.
Correct. Easy to do when you're on Amazon though, and you drop the peroxide bottle into the basket and you have it shipped with it, so it makes it a little easier.
You're going to sell them as a package.
Yeah, I would sell them as a package. Because again, customers who bought this, I mean, people don't read.
Sure.
And so then they get this at home and they're like, oh my gosh, now I got to go get peroxide.
Sure. No, and listen, there's challenges with what we have. We have superior science.
Yeah.
It's transformational the way you
no,
use it.
I think that's great. But I think
but
that's
it's
why I'm pushing.
challenging.
That's why I'm pushing going through some sort of bloggers that are just going to give you more attention and they're going to explain some of those things and talking about the application, because I think you're very limited in terms of like someone coming to your site and figuring it out or ultimately going on Amazon. Use the benefit of this is a social channel that has truly developed over the last few years and can be very meaningful, I think, for your brand.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, social versus direct digital and ad.
Absolutely, I would be doing social. I would be doing like this influencers. Influencers is very broad. So I'm the blog that has engaged followers, or like the mommy bloggers that basically can talk about like I don't have to hose down my lacrosse. I can actually make sure it's not carrying germs.
I think you guys have probably done this, but if you have a thorough inspection of the channels that are direct to consumer, not B2B. So in my mind, finding an MLM seller, for instance, that's focusing on some of the products in the
you gotta tell the story, right?
Yeah, it could be because those, they sell in home. There's a chance to demonstrate. There's some ways to get to consumers more directly than just digital in some channels that didn't exist a decade ago.
That's a great idea.
So just something like that.
Yeah, you just got to get it in the hands of the people and have that the show and tell, since it's not plug and play.
Correct. Yeah, and that's where we are now.
Yep.
So we're just trying to figure out a way.
It's obviously great tech, so.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. Thank you very much for your input.
All right, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Jeff.